want to do a specific leadership analysis on the announcement that Joe Biden put out on X, formerly known as Twitter, in his decision to step down as the nominee for the Democratic Party. So I'm going to read this statement out loud. I'm going to go line by line in what is a little bit shorter of a video than my normal leadership analysis. But Joe Biden states on X, "My fellow Democrats, I've decided not to accept the nomination and to focus all my energies on my duties as president for the remainder of my term. My very first decision as party nominee in 2020 was to pick Kamala Harris as my vice president, and it's been the best decision I've made. Today, I want to offer my full support and endorsement for Kamala to be the nominee of our party this year. Democrats, it's time to come together and beat Trump. Let's do this." That's his statement. I tried not to add too much inflection, but he's addressing my fellow Democrats. Okay, he's not addressing the nation. He's not addressing the constituents. He's not doing all voters. He's specific to Democrats, and he puts us out on a national, what's going to stir the pot on the national stage. So he's decided not to spend his energy on being a nominee. So he's been campaigning this entire time, but now he's going to spend energy on elsewhere. I wish he was spending all of his energies on being the president, but I also recognize that presidents for re-election have to spend some energy on their re-election campaigns. So this is very interesting, seeming as he is the most popular president in the history of voting at 81 million votes and some change, that he's not going to just swoop in there and win the party. I think he's saving face on some things. I think there's two things that have really affected this. Of course, the foremost effect is his apparent mental health and the result of his debate the other day. He's also sick with COVID, and nobody has seen from him yet. This is the type of announcement that you get in front of the camera and make. So leadership analysis number one, if you're not going to try to be president anymore, you should announce that to the nation, not just your Democrat Party. He targeted just a partial audience of what needs to happen. He needs to target the entire nation, letting them know that, hey, I'm no longer going to be seeking to be your president. He states that I want to do that, spending my energy on the rest of my term. Well, he has just immediately, as of yesterday, made himself a lame duck president. If he's going to do more energy into being the president, he could have at least kept power in the decision-making, power in the veto process. People are no longer going to put legislation forward. People are going to no longer support his bills, his ideals, his nominations for various cabinet positions, or if Supreme Court justices come up and go, they're going to hold everything off until they see who the next president is. So he really just undercut a lot of his power as an influential leader and a president making these decisions. And then he does a good thing, and he says, hey, I want to tee someone up. I want to tee up Kamala Harris for this. So as a leader, he's trying to pass the torch. He's trying to give that positive tone of the person I've appointed next is great, is great, is great. So that's a good leadership mark right here, is teeing up the person that you think is going to follow behind you. So kudos to that. And then he, at the end of his statement, says, it's time for us to come together and beat Trump. Let's do this. He doesn't say it's time for us to come together and run the best version of the nation we can. It's time for us to come together and have the best democratic republic. He's just saying, hey, let's beat Trump. I'm doing this for the purpose, in his last sentence, to take down my adversary. That's poor leadership. You missed the mark on this one. You should have addressed everybody in person, and you should have made about the entire nation, both front and back of your statement. This is about doing what's best for the country, not the Democrat Party, in order to beat a political opponent. Missed opportunity in leadership there, and was one of the most historical statements ever made. The most historical statement was made on a Twitter post, which in theory, somebody could have hacked and made up a lie. He's not shown his face after this now to give some type of caveat. He's sick with COVID. He's in his Delaware beach house, recuperating and trying to recover, but surely you can get yourself fired up for 5 minutes to release this important information to the nation and address the American public. They need to hear from you in a time like this. There's turmoil everywhere. You gave your statements on the assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump. You've given a couple statements, and then now this statement here, you're suddenly absent for. I think there's a lot going on here. I do believe there's other things influencing this leader behind the scene instead of this leader influencing other people. But I want to wait to hear more. I want to know the whereabouts of Joe Biden in person, in face, and hear it from his own mouth. Because right now we have a letter written in a Twitter post that has been put out. So this is very interesting, very not normal leadership delivery. So stay tuned. We're going to keep covering all kinds of events like this from the leadership perspective.